Hey everyone, welcome back to another amazing Adobe XD tutorial. Today we're going to check out this amazing isometric carousel design that I've made in Adobe XD only. We won't use any other software with it. So without further ado, let's just get started with this tutorial. Alright guys, to start off with, I will choose the iPhone X, XS and 11 Pro artboard. You can choose whichever size of artboard that you like. I am going to change the color on the right under appearance to a pure black. I'm doing this because I'll be trying it out on my device, which is an OLED screen. The black will look really good. To begin off with the design of the carousel, I have brought in this little screenshot, which is basically an older version of Chrome browser, but it had the design that we are going to create today. So I thought I'll use this as a reference. So in this case, what I need to do is create a basic rectangle, right? And this rectangle will be a square in this case. So make sure that the width and height are the same. The card should be about 32 pixels from the left. So make sure it's 32. Here you go. And also 32 from the right. So just maybe make it smaller so that it's 32. Now that we have the spacing all set, what I'm going to do is click on this rectangle, press enter. And if I press enter, 4 dots or 4 anchor points will be displayed. So what I want you guys to do is click on the bottom left anchor point and shift it to the right. While holding shift on the keyboard, press the right arrow key twice. So 1, 2, perfect. Same with the right one, 1, 2. For the top one, what I'm going to do is push it 1 point. Now this gives us that kind of isometric feel with the shape here. So to test this out, what I'm going to do is place an image here, and I will make sure that it expands and covers the entire area of that isometric card. I'll make sure that it's behind that. So in the layers panel, I can just drag the image down so that it is behind this rectangle. Select both of these and say Command Shift M to mask it. As you can see now that it has that isometric feel. Of course, to add to that isometric feel, I will need to create a shadow behind this. So for that, what I'm going to do is create a rectangle which is smaller than this isometric card, but just about. So it's almost edge to edge and placed right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the border, of course, make this a black in color for sure. And what I'm going to do is background blur. There is a tick box or check box right here. I'll click on it and change background blur to object blur. As you can see, we've created a nice shadow behind this, so it feels like it's above something. So I'm make sure it's behind this, and I'm grouping both of these together. Nice. Now that the card is set up, you can just duplicate it by holding Alt and just dragging it down. And as you can see, it is now dragging down and it is the same exact shape. Now that we have these cards nicely set up, what I'm going to do is maybe copy other images as well. Just cut this image and say Command X or Control X on your keyboard. Select this element while holding Command or Control. And as you can see, there is an image. What I want to do is paste it right here, right above the image, and delete the previous image. If you keep the previous image, this whole file will become heavy and prototyping and animating will become more difficult. Just adjust it so that it fits entirely in this space. As you guys can see, I have placed all the images as per what I had told you guys. Now to make this list a little more scrollable up and down, what I'm going to do is select all of these. While holding shift, you can just select all of these, and on the right, there are these scrolling options. I will click on vertical scroll. That is what we require. That will allow us to scroll vertically in this list. I will also click on this artboard and say Command D to duplicate this list. Now, the next thing that I want to do is make sure that these are not visible. So what I'm going to do is click on all these bottom ones here, except this top orange artboard, this top orange artwork right here. And I'll make sure that it shifts up. It shifts up just like this. And what I'm going to do is double click on this and make sure you select all of these cards as they are here and just drag them upwards, and on the right, reduce the opacity to 0. So you basically can't see these cards at all. And yes, I have made the top card square as well. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I select this top card, which is group 17 in this case. While holding shift, I will drag it in so that it becomes a little smaller in this case, and that is about it. And I will place it basically in the center, just manually place it for now, but you can center it perfectly if you like. Of course, like my final design, you can put in your entire list here. I will give the entire Adobe XD file, so don't worry about the interface. This is more related to the animations. So what I'm going to do is to create this animation, click on Home 1, which is the second artboard, and duplicate it by saying Command D and Control D. So in this effect, there will be 3 main artboards. So the first one on the right in this case is the one which will trigger everything that is happening. So I'll create a rectangle or a square, whichever one you like, on top of this. And what I'm going to do is say Command C, Control C, and copy it on all these artboards above everything else. Make sure that exists and put it here as well. Awesome. So in the first artboard, the drag position is at the top, so we don't change it in any way. In the second artboard, however, we drag it slightly towards the bottom. So we kind of bring it towards the bottom. Maybe 40 or 50 pixels is good enough. And on the left one, what I'm going to do is just delete this and copy the second one from here to the left. That means it is at the same position right here. So anytime we drag this down, it will animate like this. So I'm going to select all these white rectangles which are displayed here, and we don't really want them to be displayed. I'll reduce the opacity to 0. Make sure that make sure that it's not hidden in any way. It's just opacity is dropped down to 0. Now go to the prototype tab on the top right here, and inside this, click on this rectangle, which is our overlay in this case. Drag this arrow to the second artboard. And on the right, I have triggers. So under trigger, I want to say drag. Also make sure that the type is set to auto animate and destination is, in this case, home 1. Easing is set to ease in out. I generally prefer this. You can change it to anything. It really doesn't matter when you're dragging. From here, home 1, I want to click on home 1 and drag the arrow of this entire artboard to the first artboard here, which is home. Make sure auto animate is selected, and trigger should change to time. And in this case, I want it to be 0 seconds. This is the only way you can automate dragging into animation. And easing is set to ease in out. Perfect. And duration, I'll set it to about 0.6 seconds, even though ideally it's 0.4 or 0.5, but I want it to have like a good smooth experience. So maybe even a 0.65 is a good number. And if you've done the whole prototype and animation perfectly, you will get a result very similar to this one, and it will animate perfectly and very smoothly. I hope you guys liked that tutorial. If you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, and also click that subscribe button because I post every Monday and Thursday. If you want all these updates, also make sure that you click on the bell icon. That will really help my channel grow. And I'll see you every Monday and Thursday, guys. See you in the next one. God bless.